Hello and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Polio Experts. Today we're here with Professor Rose Leke. She is the chairperson of the African Regional Certification Commission. Welcome and thank you for being with us today. Perhaps to start with, for our audience, could you introduce yourself and tell us about your role a little bit more?
Thank you. I am Professor Rose Leke. I'm an emeritus professor of the Faculty of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences of the University of Yaoundé 1 in Cameroon. I used to be head of department in the Department of Microbiology and Immunology at the medical school, and also director of a biotechnology center. And I've been chairing this certification commission from its incept in 1999, and then for a while the activities of the commission were suspended because there was a lot of polio on the ground and work had to be done to get rid of the virus first before we talk of certification. But after that, when the commission started on again, the regional office called us back and I was asked to take the place as chairperson again. So I'm still chairperson of our African Regional Certification Commission, yes.
So we are here today for viewers' benefit. It is February 2018.
That's right.
Next year, of course, is 2019. And the last cases of wild poliovirus detected in Africa date to August 2016.
You're
so next
right.
year will mark 3 years. Africa will be eligible for certification. What are your thoughts on the current progress?
No, there's been a lot of progress, tremendous progress. Over the past 30 years ago, when Nelson Mandela, he launched the Pan-African Kick Polio Out of Africa campaign. And since then, you know, at that time, every country was endemic for polio at that moment. And you had about, per year, 70,000 children that were paralyzed for life with this wild poliovirus. So as you say, we are now about 99% gone with it. And there's this little 1% that is left. And hopefully we'll be able to say Africa polio-free. The last wild poliovirus detected was since 2016. So now we have all this progress, tremendous progress that has been made. And this has been achieved sincerely through the concerted efforts and commitment of many of good people, of governments, of public health professionals, of many leaders, the communities, and you have religious leaders, and don't forget the communities themselves and the mothers who have taken, the parents really, maybe not the mothers alone, the parents who have really gone on to make all this happen now. So we really owe our thanks to all of these people. And we are at the verge really of a tremendous public health success in Africa. And we look forward to how this will, the onward journey, how it's going to come within the next few years, with many challenges, as you know.
So next year, together with your colleagues on the Regional Certification Commission, 2019, 3 years since the last case, what sort of evidence will you and your colleagues be looking for?
Oh, we will be looking for very strong evidence that wild poliovirus transmission has been interrupted everywhere, in every remaining niche in the continent. You know, we have to be very careful with that. We wouldn't restrict ourselves to just talking about detecting the cases. We'll want to see the evidence that virus circulation has been interrupted, and it means that we'll want to see data that is not just from the AFP cases as usual, but indeed we'll have to really verify the absence of the virus in other sources. It's important that we get on with environmental samples And that's when you test the swage samples. And then we'll have to look even from healthy individuals, of contacts in these areas that we have problems with, people who are coming out of these areas, that are going into the areas, older age groups. We really need a lot of information. And there's a risk assessment that's going on now, taking place. So we'll have to really find out, it's important that it tells us where mitigation will be needed. So we'll need some really strong evidence about it. And we'll really need to be, very convinced with rigorous data. We need some really rigorous data and analysis to really tell us that the virus is gone. So unless we really are convinced that this virus isn't there, I believe we are not going to declare any certification of the African region. We have to be sure that the virus is gone.
It sounds like this is particularly important for areas such as Borno, northeastern Nigeria as well, where there are some surveillance gaps which remain, and of course that's from where the last case was detected a few years ago.
Absolutely, that is exactly right. From Borno, we will need to have solid evidence from all of Borno. And then you also have other areas that have some subnational gaps. So we'll need this information from there to that the virus has really gone away from these areas. It's very important that we get that. And in Borno particular, you know that the last case was detected there in 2016. And it had been going on since 2012 in that area. So we will really have to be more careful this time and make sure we're not missing anything. So having said that, I'm extremely impressed really by the activities being undertaken by teams on the ground, by leaders across Nigeria and indeed neighboring countries across Lake Chad region to try to fill these remaining gaps. It is truly impressive if you look at the work they are doing to reach the children with vaccine and to find the virus, whether it is through increasing use of environmental surveillance or testing of healthy individuals as they exit or enter inaccessible areas. Really, they are leaving no stone unturned. And if one considers that they are working under extremely difficult circumstances, very often under dangerous conditions, I can only say that the work that is being done is admirable. And so if it continues to be built on over the next year, then certainly from our perspective, we will look at all available evidence with a completely open mind, and then we'll see what our conclusions will be at that point.
Thank you so much. I think here's to a polio-free Africa very, very soon. The world is so close to it. But thank you very much for your insights and for taking the time today. And thank you for joining us, and join us again on a future episode of Coffee with Polio Experts. Thank you.
Thank you.